Boom. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. Whew, I's back. Need a little bit of rest yesterday, so I appreciate my brothers holding it down, doing what they do every single day. And I love the fact that my brothers can hold it down. I ain't even got to be in the building. So good morning. So welcome to the Brothers of Legacy broadcast. Blessings, Lisa. Blessings upon blessings. And thank you for always sharing. Sharing is caring. So I appreciate you guys being here. My brothers will be in the building. So make sure you share this conversation. Tag someone that needs to hear this. It's imperative. We're about to have an amazing conversation. So if you've not checked out the title, what we're talking about, are you aware of what's happening? It's a lot going on, guys. It's a lot going on, and we need to stay vigilant. We need to stay focused. If you watch your timelines on social media, sometimes it doesn't reflect actually what's going down. Hey, Mama McCoy, great morning to you. Thank you for rocking with us every single day. Appreciate you guys. It always does my heart glad just to see you guys in the building. So make sure you share. Sharing is caring. And if you don't know who we are, this is the Brothers of Legacy. We come on every single morning, 9 a.m. until we finish talking. And we talk about all the issues that are happening around our world and everywhere else. So make sure you are a part. And as always, join our community. Text brothers to 84576. Text brothers to 84576. This week, I want to talk about a lot of the voter laws, voting politics, getting into the weeds of why it's important that we know what's happening around us. Because I'm going to keep it real. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for rocking with us, Miss Kathy Appless in the building. It's so much happening that, we get so distracted. We get so distracted as to what's going on. Looking at timelines, you got the Derek Jackson situation, the Lil Nas thing. And that's why I wanted to talk about yesterday. Are we too focused on celebrity issues? Are we too focused on things that honestly in our world don't matter? Because what Lil Nas does and believes doesn't affect me as far as me personally. I can only teach my children, listen, don't get into things or listen to people that don't carry the same values, that don't have the right values. So it's about that. So today, I want to dig into the things we should be focused on because, like we spoke about, I think like last week, the craziest thing is when it gets quiet, you should be mindful as to what's happening, right? Voting has been such a loud thing for the last couple of months. And if you live in Georgia, man, right before voting started, we got tons and tons of voting material. Make sure you vote, in your mail, and you're getting stuffed like, between John and Warnock, all their information, literally getting postcard from people from other states. And I didn't realize that. I realized, I look like, why is this a Chicago return address on here? So you're literally, and they are paying for mass distribution. So everybody in the country was pushing us to do this thing. And then it got quiet. After the election, it was quiet. It was silent. But what's up, Dwayne? Great morning to you. Hopefully you'll be on the other side with me. Hey, Cheryl. Great morning. Good morning. Good morning. And it got quiet. And the thing is, there was stuff brewing. It's kind of like, if you're ever been in a fight and you lose and you like, I'm going to win next time, so you begin to strategize while on the other side, they're celebrating and ready to just do their thing, but they're not strategizing. Good morning, Cole. Good morning, Cole. She said, so true. Being in the know and what we decide to focus on is different. Yvonne tried to take me out yesterday, right? And this, yes, I know the trial. It's Blazer 8. Yes, indeed. Because this is serious talk. Need to find my glasses, make this the serious time, because that, and I'm a take an L because I dropped the ball. And what I mean is I try to stay ahead of stuff so you guys will know what's about to be impacted by you, throughout this country, because we have different representations that's watched the show everywhere. Right, Dwayne. Pin drop. Quiet. So as we know, Georgia law just kind of dropped, right? And so what is happening behind the scenes is what matters, right? We got excited because we celebrated a supposed blue wave through Georgia. But as we found out, we're not really rocking blue like that. Yeah, federally, yeah. But locally, nah. So we realized locally we were running a little different, doing things just a tad bit different. So I want to kind of talk about what happened, and then I kind of been doing some research. So this week. So if you're rocking with me this week, make sure you share, tag somebody. This week we have to begin to be vigilant. We have to know what's going on. And we're going to dig into the laws that are changing, the laws that are being proposed federally, locally, and that's what matters. Cole says about the case, well, to be fair, they dragged the Siobhan trial for a minute, and the GA voter bills seem to not be promoted nor broadcasted. Let that marinate, guys. Let that marinate. We scroll timelines all the time. So it's, we're not like back in the day, right? And what I mean by back in the day, most of my people here have lived through the 90s, in a high level of awareness. So, you know what I mean? So we had like TV, radio, and local word of mouth. That was it. TV, radio, yes. Media targeting is a real thing, yes. TV, radio, local word of mouth. So, to get something out, if you had something, you got to get the word out. It was a struggle. The heart, the one thing you push for is maybe radio, right? And if you live, like I lived in New York, try to get, if anything, you're trying to get on the biggest station and that reaches the biggest audience. Or you get on a college radio station and you get a targeted market, but it gets out, right? Or you just get old school and you bust some flyers out, right? That was it. That's the most of it. Now it's different. Now, I can post something and it can go nationwide just like that. I don't even need to put money behind a post for it to go nationwide just like that. Right? It's just got to be seen by one and shared by each person that sees it. Right? The thing is, what is your focus? What is the change that you want to see? So when you see the articles, are you posting? When you see the things that are happening in the country, are you shifting the conversation? Because DJ has no presence in my life, means nothing to my life. Zero. But yet he gets the most of the attention. It's crazy. Yeah, right. Cut them right. We have essentially cut the middleman out. Anybody in here can do something and it can be seen by millions just like that. You post, I see it, I share. Dwayne sees, he shares. Cole sees, he shares. Willette sees it, she shares. So it's no reason that we should know. Like back in the day, you find out about stuff, you're like, oh, how do I get in the know so I can get this information when it really matters? Because we got blindsided by a lot of stuff. You're like, how did that get signed in the bill? How did that get into office? How did this person get in office? It was a struggle. You had to really be in the know, in groups, in people, So they call, hey, listen, make sure you go vote this local election. Boom, boom, go vote, go vote, go vote, go vote. Local stuff. Like we just had one in Georgia like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, out of cycle. So, and you wonder why people stay in office forever. If their position or office is offered up out of cycle, 9 times out of 10, they get to be there for a long time because people just don't vote like that. Like people don't know. You don't really know, So today and this week, I'm real talk. I want to really dig into this. We're going to conversate about this, and and the difference between us, this show and a lot of others is, listen, my comments matter. Your input matters because change is serious. Change is serious. And this isn't about partisanship. And I'm gonna say it over and over and over and over and over again. It's not about partisanship. It's about what's right. It's about what's right. It's about doing this country right and make sure everyone has an opportunity to vote. I'm gonna say this. Then I'm gonna drop the intro and we're gonna get into this this conversation. But did you know that if you have a felon, you could still run for president? If you were a felon, if you had a felony, that you can still run for president? Yet, in many states, if you have a felony, you can't even vote. Let that marinate. I could be a felon and run for president, but if in some states, several, I won't say most, I'll say several, because I don't know the numbers, that you can vote, that you can be president. And I'm sure probably some elected officials. So let that marinate. To all my felons out there, you need to run for office and change some of these laws because it's ridiculous. Voting to me, and I'm going to get into it. I know. Voting to me, Dwayne says, I love this initiative. You have shed light in dark corner. That's my goal, man. That's my goal because I've dropped the ball. This voting thing is like real talk. It's serious. Cole said the GA new voting policy is a reflection of the state still being more conservative in scope. However, this policy is an attack on Atlanta, having such a powerful impact on the whole state. Truth. Yes, Fulton County, which is Atlanta County, kind of Atlanta-ish, is big. We got other counties. Like I'm part of Henry County, and Henry County was part of the push. Clayton County, part of the push. But, like I was telling my wife earlier, there are other, like Brookhaven, which is a different, has a different demographic. But even though they may, because they were Atlanta-ish, and if you don't know, like Georgia has been going through a serious breaking off from Atlanta. So people break off from Atlanta and now they start their own counties and start their own towns and districts and areas. A lot of that has been happening. A lot of that, a lot. And I try to do that here in the town I live in. Basically, some moves is just is it? But this one was clear. They were trying to take the money side of the town, break it off into its own town, while leaving the other half of the town that doesn't earn as much revenue from businesses to fend for itself. Yeah, it's crazy. Thank you for the clarification. I was meaning, Atlanta. Yeah, you good, brother. You good. All right. So, yeah. So we're gonna really, 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 really dig into this. I don't want to pass over this. The great part about this is we can take our time with this. I don't want to just glaze over this. There's a lot of shows that this is a part in a segment, and I am not partisan. I believe in the rights of the people. I believe voting is a right. Yes, there you go. Cobb, DeKalb, Clayton, Douglas, Fulton, and Gwinnett. And those are the counties that were really hardcore blue. And when you erase stuff on this thing, it shifts and you can't find stuff. There you go. All right, so 17 minutes in, we're gonna start the intro right now. Be right back.
I didn't want to catch that. Good morning. Welcome to another episode. Good morning, everybody.
Bam! Back on the scene, crispy and clean. All right. Right post. All right, let's get it. I can't share quick enough. I need to be sharing while I'm talking. I need to do the work. All right. So make sure you share, tag somebody that should be a part of this conversation. Tag somebody that you want in this conversation that you have that you feel like, you know what? We were just talking about this. We were just discussing. Put it in their inbox. Mama Corey does that. She drops it in everybody's inbox. So make sure you're a part of this conversation. This is going to be a great talk. He said, you can get with this or you can get with that. But yes, make sure you're a part of this conversation. So let's see. So I'm, me, I always kind of break stuff down. Let's see. There we go. All right. Pastor McCory's in the building. Uno momento, sir. Nope, that's not what I wanted. That's what I did not want. All right. Let's bring you in. Bam. Bam. All right. Great morning, sir. Great morning. Great morning.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. So yeah. So today we are discussing a lot of the changes in voting laws that's happening and how it's affecting us and affecting the country. Georgia's just won. I was looking up. There's around 250 laws, that are being changed that are coming down the pike in many states. And today I just want to, and if I haven't mentioned it in my group, but this week, Pastor, I kind of want to tackle voting. And I know before you've asked me about tackling voting, especially during the election season, talking about it then. But I really want us to get ahead of the game, which I'm sure you would. We can make sure we stay informed, they stay informed, and we have this conversation about the importance of staying part of this. He said, Blazer AD. It's good morning, Pastor Big Mac. And all my podcast people, I appreciate you guys rocking and listening. So let me ask you, Pastor, were you aware of what was coming down the pike for Georgia as far as the changes in the law, or did you get a sense of it? I'm gonna be real, because I somehow not staying, my focus wasn't right, because I missed it. I really missed it until it came down, and then the young lady got arrested. The legislature, let me make it clear, yes, she was a rep. She belonged there, and she got arrested. And then I found out, all that was going on. Being reactive, not proactive. So were you kind of aware of it, or did you know about like something coming?
We talked about it, right?
Right.
I was telling everybody, remember what happened when Barack Obama got elected?
Right.
The gerrymandering came after that.
Right. Right.
And we have to look for what was coming. You have to be on the lookout.
Quiet.
Yeah.
I remember you said that too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this is it, right?
Right.
They have made all these changes to the voting laws, which essentially is voter suppression, the new Jim Crow, and the challenge is it hasn't been covered. You have not had widespread coverage, and you have to ask yourself, why? Now, you need to understand that some of the media outlets have been talking about it, but it hasn't been leading in their commentary. It hasn't been the leading topic in their commentary. And you have to ask yourself, why?
Hey, right.
Right. So what do? You do what we did to effect change in the most recent election. You have to get out, you have to educate, you have to encourage, you have to incent, you have to do a lot of things, because what they have done has essentially chained a lot of people, right? Think about how much, and we talked about this a little bit in your absence yesterday, man, good to have you back, that there was so much commercialing and motivation and enhancement and outreach and marketing
Right.
to get
A
people
lot.
out to vote, but
Right.
you don't
Tons of
consider
it.
the cost
Right.
to do that. It
Right.
costs a lot of money to do that.
It does. It does.
And so now in between elections, you don't have that money.
Right.
So what do you do?
So do you, so I'll say this, for the most, like, I know I'm signed up for something because I've gotten, like, during the push, I've gotten several texts and calls and different people. Hey, this is Joanne from blah 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 initiative. So we're somewhere. I put my number out there, and I got several texts and calls from the same side but different initiatives. Hey, this is working for the people initiative.
Yeah.
Like, are you and just ask, and listen, they ask for money. They're just, are you going to vote?
Right.
Who, and then they might, someone threw in, who you voting for?
Yeah.
Like, who you feeling? So we
Yeah.
can maybe probably persuade me, just in case I wasn't voting the way they felt would be helpful.
Mhm.
So so I'm on list. Like, why? Or, okay, so let me ask you this, because I was looking it up. I seen some. Did John Ossoff and or Warnock, and we know they represent federal, so they're not local. Had you seen anything of them speaking about this coming down the pike prior to? Doesn't mean it didn't. You just may not have seen it. I'll
No,
say
I don't
that.
remember hearing any of them talk about it prior, but you got to
Okay.
remember them having their runoff and
Right.
getting elected.
Right.
This was going on while they were still campaigning
Right.
for the runoff.
Right.
The GOP had already begun this process.
Right, because it was already in office. They already had the power.
Yeah.
They already had the control.
Right.
Wow. Right.
And they were still getting their names put on their doors. Raphael Warnock, he was still celebrating.
Right. Right. They were writing. Right. So my first question, well, I know that. We know why the sweeping changes in the voting laws, because of the election. My man was upset. So we got that. So what can we do? Or, I guess all you can do is vote. I guess the only struggle, because we spoke about, as always, the 2010 gerrymandering has kind of shifted a lot of districts and pushed certain states to favor one party over another based on, the very strategic gerrymandering that they did. And I think they imposed some laws. I don't know if you can do the same that you did in 2010 now in 2020, but what can we do to ensure that our people vote? Like, so the laws come down, just like they have for us. We've sat back and we've had the the repercussions. What's that saying? If you're not at the table, you're just reaping the consequences of what's discussed at the table. And so in this position, what can we do now? What is it that we need to do now to make sure that we don't lose our momentum? Because I've been really, that's been like the crux of what I've been thinking about. Like, we have momentum, from a police killing to losing the fight to this with the whole new voting laws. We're the masters of reaction.
Mm-hmm.
We know we react, we try to attack, we try to change in the moment.
Yeah.
When the moment passes, let's just say we rose up and we blocked this. We somehow reversed what happened. How do we stay vigilant? How do we stay vigilant? I think about kind of like the Republicans. And like I said, it's not about partisanship, but I'm just two sides, two different strategies. I think about Republicans. If you have, if you I'm sure you listen to like the Hannitys and Limbaughs at times.
Yeah.
It seems like their words always stay in the fight. Like they always, it's like they got to find something to drum up, to keep you in this fight, to keep you active, to keep you upset. Because now it's funny. Like I was watching, listening thing about Ted Cruz. Now he's trying to do some investigative reporting with, what up, Dwayne? Good morning, sir. some investigative reporting or border patrol, border stuff going on. It's like, how are you reporting on the same stuff your boy did just some years ago with the, bringing people in or detaining them or figuring out what to do with them? And it's like now, it's like trying to keep the fire going, somehow keep the fire going to keep you in the fight. So how do we keep our people in the fight? I guess that's the question.
Well, you have to maintain a level of awareness. You have to keep it in their face, right? That's the only thing that I can say. It has to remain the news of the week. That's all you can do. I mean, because if you don't keep it in our face, it's yesterday's news. It's as good as, I cheated on my wife a month ago.
Right.
And a month ago, everybody was talking about Pastor McCrory cheating on his wife. Now today, nobody's talking about it.
Right.
You understand?
Right. Right.
But if for the last 6 weeks, well, what happened? How did his wife respond to it? Well, what happened with the children? Well, who's the other woman? 1 week, you're talking about each component of it.
Keep asking.
And that's what you have. You have to keep it. And I hate to use that term because Lord knows I'm not bad choice. But the reality is today's news is tomorrow's history. You understand? And if you don't keep it in people's faces, the only reason people even know about, Minnesota versus Chauvin is because it's on court TV.
Right.
And you see the commercials. Otherwise, no one would know that this man is on trial.
Right.
You understand? So, because if the media doesn't carry it, no one's talking about it.
Right.
If there's nobody out there shouting from the hilltops, no one's talking about it. If people don't remain interested, if it's not on the banner, on the screen, because outside of the media or trending, most people don't have an interest. Right. And the thing is that the message has to be this must remain relevant, whether it's on the news or not. This must remain relevant, whether it's a trend or not.
Right.
You understand? Right. And people have to care more about their well-being. They have to care more about their community. People have just never cared enough. Not enough people have cared enough.
Right. Right.
So, see, right. That's, all that I've said, that's what they'll catch. Wait, go back. Wait, what? What did he say? Was he kidding? Or
somebody came in the building.
Was that a confession on the slide? Did he just slide that in? Is he trying to prepare us? Something about to happen? I knew he.
Forgot everything else we've been talking about, right?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Use this platform just to slide that out there. So now when you hear it, you'll be softened up.
Listen, we don't need to just put that at the banner. Pastor cheats on wife. I didn't say this, Pastor.
We'll have 1,000 people. We have 1,000 people in the room.
It's just me and you. Oh yeah.
And then if they don't hear us talking about it, they'll be like, "Y'all lied. I'm not on it." Oh.
Right. All right.
So that's the reality. The reality is it has to. The information has to stay in people's faces. We had to do training even for our church, for our jurisdiction, right? Our community of churches. I did training to educate people. I had to look up a bunch of trivial information for most, but it was critical information to recognize. I had to tell people, look at how the numbers dropped after President Obama was elected, former President Obama was elected. In the very next election, we dropped by 47% fewer people voted from our community. But in the other communities, there was an uptick. In the Latino community, there was an uptick in voting, because they took that message home and they realized that if we're going to affect change, we've got to get engaged. Yes. We get engaged, we celebrate, and then we go home and forget about it.
Yeah, right. Back to scrolling. Cole said, Senator Cruz is trying his best to stay busy and lock down the seat for another 6 years. Right. He still has 3 more years before he has to concern himself with his re-election campaign bid. Right. Yes, indeed. He said, "What past cheating on lady? Busybodies can be hilarious at times." Right. And he said it has to be a trend or salacious enough to hook the current masses to follow things. Otherwise, forget. Right. I know. I'm trying to work on salacious. I'm getting better at it. Dwayne.
So I have to mute my mic when I'm not talking because my headphones, for whatever reason, aren't working. I don't want the feedback of the show. So give me over here. That's just because I didn't want to mess the audio up. That sounds like I got a feedback already. But so I'll make this quick. I think what Pastor just said is one of the reasons why people don't like not that they don't like them, but it's hard for average people to be around the Kobe Bryants and the Michael Jordans of the world.
Right.
Because even after you win that ship, right? Even after you go through the hard season of work, they come back the next year and they own you even tougher. Right. Most people kind of sit back and enjoy it, but their work ethic don't take them back to the same places where mine's like Michael Jordan and Kobe. It's like, I'm in you until you get this. That's why when Jordan went to the Wizards, that new generation of players, the ones who didn't have it in them to win or just whatever the case was, but they had an adverse reaction to Jordan.
Right.
When you look at the Jerry Stackhouses and the Kwame Browns, they was like, I can't play with him.
Right.
Look at the Bulls and the teammates there. They accepted the route that this is what success looks like. Therefore, if we want this, we got to continue on this path. But other organizations, they wasn't ready for that, and it got shut down quick.
Kyrie Irving is a great example. I don't want to play in the shadow. I'm tired of being LeBron's little brother, and went to another team and had to come back and repent. I didn't know this is what it was like carrying the load.
Wow.
I'm not sure if that's where you were going, Dwayne. That's what I got from what you were saying there.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is.
So let me ask y'all this then. So should we hold those in power in charge of sounding the alarm? Now we'll say about, and I'm gonna ask. Well, let me ask you, Dwayne. What I asked Pastor. Had you heard? And like I said, these guys are federal, so they're not local. But had you heard Warnock or Ossoff say anything about what was coming down the pike when it comes to? Now, I will say, I was digging back and maybe further back. If anybody has seen, I saw like 4 weeks ago, Warnock was speaking upon. He was on the floor of the House or floor of the Senate and talking about this, and he spoke about Georgia and what was coming down, the pike. Should we hold our those that elected officials to speak on these things, speak on changes?
To say that they didn't say anything,
right.
I would find it hard to believe.
Mm-hmm.
But to say that coverage wasn't there,
right?
I think
and that too. You're right.
I think it's fair because, like you said, you saw him on the floor,
right?
Bringing this up about 4 weeks ago,
right?
It's like that old adage: if a tree falls in the woods and nobody hears it, did it really fall? The truth is, it fell, but with very little impact on anything outside of the immediate vicinity of that tree falling.
Right.
All right, let's see. Comment. All right. To hear speaking requires active presence in the sport of media outlet. Right. Just exactly what Dwayne was saying, like the support of the media outlet. So would you say, and like I started off speaking before you guys came on, how do we need to be vigilant about keeping these things in the faces of our people, or at least, those that will see us, that Facebook will allow us to broadcast to, and for them to get the opportunity to see this. So we we have to start a campaign for ourselves to start making sure this information constantly stays in their face. Like we talk about this even, and like I said, I want to dedicate a week of talking about this like directly, but I guess weeks going forward, this has to be a reoccurring segment. Would you agree on that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we just have to bring it up, talk about it, dig into it. And trust me, this is the beginning of it. I'm gonna dig into some other laws, and and narrow down like what works, what doesn't work. And I will say this, because I was listening to an interview of Kemp on Fox, in his space, in his comfortable space, answering about the laws, and he was saying some of the Dems were against Saturday voting. How do you guys feel about like the photo ID requirement? I hear the argument.
I think every citizen of age, should have a photo ID.
Right.
I mean, what's the bottom line is, how are you living?
I think about that too. I know.
And you're a U.S. citizen and you're over the age of 16.
Right.
How do you get through high school without a photo ID?
Right.
But it's possible.
I know it's possible, but I'm saying, the fact that that's possible is ridiculous.
Right. Right.
If you're an adult over the age of 21 and you don't have a photo ID, shame on you.
Yeah. Right.
That's I still gotta pull in general. You are absolutely correct.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If it's like we're complaining, well, now they're telling us everybody has to have an ID. If they can get you with having an ID, something's wrong with you.
Okay, so let me spell this one out.
All right, break it down.
No. Listen, it has to come off exactly the way I'm saying it. There's certain times that it's not necessary to spell it out. It's necessary for you to feel as silly as I want you to feel. If you are an adult,
I hear you,
and all they have to do is change the law that forces you to have an ID in order to vote, and you're mad because they changed the law that forces you to have an ID, and you're old enough and you're supposed to have one. They're not the fool. You are.
Okay, but to go back to that point, it's not that simple for everybody. Case in point, my mother.
Okay, bro,
wait.
No, stop.
Let them.
Stop giving people.
Let them break.
No, I'm not giving it. I'm not giving an excuse. This is not an excuse. This is reality for some people.
Give them a chance.
This is reality for some people. My mother didn't graduate high school. At 15 in 1957, she got married and ended up working on the farm because of being in South Carolina, where she's from, opportunities, whatever the case may be. Okay. Now, because she was born on the farm, the state of South Carolina, even though they've issued her a social security card, will not issue her an ID without a valid birth certificate. Well, there is no birth certificate. And they said, okay, well, the family Bible is something that you can use. Well, the family Bible was used until my oldest aunt took it and died.
ID real quick.
So the fact is, there are a small, minute percentage of people that, the way at least South Carolina state laws are currently constructed, that you can't prove where you were born, you can't have an ID in the state.
Interesting.
And it doesn't matter that her son has driver's license, passport, all these concealed carry, graduation certificates from this school, that school. The fact that she was born on a farm, which part of the farm was North Carolina, part of the farm was in South Carolina, she can't get an ID simply because she doesn't have a birth certificate. There is no way around that. I've personally tried to fix this for her.
That's good.
We now have, because she lives with my brother now in a different state, we're in the process of being able to get her an ID, but this is the first time in 70 plus years that she's been able to have one.
You've made an excellent point, my brother. Well thought out, well articulated. Please help me understand, what percentage of the population matches that unique situation?
Okay, what about?
No.
I say probably less than 1%.
I needed to give him time. See, I needed to give him time.
I said less than 1%.
Okay, so
that's what they call a one-off.
Yeah. So is that who I'm talking to?
No, it's not. It's
okay. So when I make the statement, when I make the statement, everybody can go find, not even everybody. Someone is going to be able to go find a person that fits in that one little category that says this is going to be a problem for me. But for 99.9995% of the people that I'm talking to, that's not the case, right? So if you were born after slavery, okay, if you were born after slavery, it's got to be very, very difficult. You got to be in a really, really challenging position to not be able to get an ID. My point is, they know that if they institute a law like that, they're going to almost cripple a great part of a demographic, because people are too trifling to get up off their tough and go get an ID. That's a problem. That's not a problem for the United States. That's a problem for that demographic. That's all I'm saying. And no one has to like it. You don't have to like that I'm being this forward and this hard about it. But is it any less true that you got to be silly to be grown today in this day and age and have a cell phone but not have a photo ID?
He said, if there's a 160-year-old person living out there, please come see me. I want to interview you.
Seriously. And I'm saying that should not cripple us.
I got you.
That's all I'm saying.
No, and to your point, I was thinking when it first happened, I was like, yes, it's a little jacked up. However, I don't think that it should be. I'm gonna say this. I battled with you even calling it the new Jim Crow, and I know the intentions may be the same as people of that time, but I battle with that comment only because I don't see it affecting us the same way that Jim Crow did during the 50s and the 60s. I think that this has less of an impact than actions of that day. I think that today, what this is it's a mental type warfare. It puts people in a place mentally where you think you're being like, look at, you get disrespected by getting arrested doing your job. I mean, so I think it's more of a mental fight now than the physical aspect, because when it comes to those type things, what Pastor was saying, I know a handful of old white women who I grew up and they were the old ladies in the neighborhood who kind of fit in that category. So the reality of it is the people the category of people that fit is small and is probably equally represented on both sides. Because being poor and white, the only difference sometimes was where you was from, and sometimes where you was from, well, at least I'm white, was the thing that you could say. But it didn't stop life from beating you down. So I think that it's not even on the Jim Crow level, because how does it really affect us? I mean, if anything, you got to show up in person now. You can't mail it. I mean, you got to be the person that drops it off. I mean, outside of those type parameters, that affects a class of people, not necessarily a demographic. So I don't even think it has the reach that we're giving it. I mean, yeah, it's a messed up process, but does it really hurt anybody that bad? I mean, that's kind of where I am.
I got you. I mean, I believe that sometimes the Jim Crow adage is just to me like a trigger point to kind of activate us, because when you hear things like that, it's more of a trigger. I mean, it goes far to say the Jim Crow 2.0. I mean, I dig that a lot of the laws are being pushed and changed, and then getting rid of the Voter Right Acts, that the Supreme Court passed, kind of makes it easier for states to do crazy stuff as far as the election laws. Just about, he said, Cheryl says, yes, creating long lines and commitment to patience, which is a problem. I feel you, like, restricting the time for the voting booths and things of that nature can create more of a problem. If especially if you're used to, certain times I get off work or whatever. Now I gotta get a day. I definitely believe voting should be a national holiday. Give us, so we could have the time to go. But do you feel like a lot of these, and my thing is, right, with these voting laws and these restrictions coming down the pike, should that push us more to want to do whatever it takes to vote? Like, and we know back in the day, those that would try, even though they had to fill out what did they call them? Those the quiz. You got to fill out, take these erroneous tests just to be able to vote. That of course was administered by the person behind the counter who chose who had to take those tests or what kind of tests they had to take. Do you feel like this push? Sometimes a little, like I always talk about back in the day, we were probably more unified in pushing against racism because it was more in our face, like on a daily basis, getting disrespected, not on the slide, just right in your face, with that push, with this in our face. And I know the Jim Crow 2.0 is kind of like a trigger to get us motivated. You think, does this help motivate us to do what's right, to be more involved, to try to get registered, make sure we stay registered and get registered? I know I saw one of the laws, if I'm not mistaken, in GA, you have to register again for mail-in balloting. Like you have to constantly keep that up to date every year. If you're a mail-in ballot person, do you think this will push us to do more, or do you think it'll become, there you go, the literacy test? Thank you, sir. Do you think we will not get in the fight?
I think it should push us. I think it should encourage us. I think it should motivate us, right? How long have we been screaming from the rooftop, we have to be more engaged? Right. How long have we been screaming, no vote, no voice? Right. And at some point, one of two things is going to happen. Either you're going to let your voice be heard through your vote, or you're going to just have to stop talking. Right. You understand? Dwayne, you said something a minute ago. Attention should be brought. It should be brought to the forefront that there's somebody out there that does not have the ability to get an ID. Right. Mm-hmm. That should be something that is expressed. Right. Someone should be out there championing the effort for, my great grandmother who's still alive, but never leaves the house because she's physically unable, but she still votes. Right. Because now, according to these new laws, she won't be able to vote. Right. Right. So there has to be some attention paid to how many great grandmothers are there out there, or grandfathers or uncles or whatever out there in that position. Right. Who voted in the last election, but won't be able to, according to this new law, won't be able to vote in this election because no one can take it's a law for me to carry my great grandmother's absentee ballot to the poll, to the box and drop it off. Right. Right. How do you speak to that? So there has to be some type of special, unique language in there that covers people like that. And I would hope that there is, but that's not being explained or expressed when they talk about the new voting laws. Right. Right. So it's a valid point that you're making, Goodson. Right. But what I'm saying is, if they can eliminate, let's say they can eliminate 10,000 votes because of a lack of ID. Right. What was the margin that turned Georgia blue?
It was less than 10,000. Right.
Right. Donald Trump said, I need to find 1,100 votes. Didn't he say that?
Yeah. Go find me 1,100.
That was classic.
1,100 or 11,000?
No, it was 1,100.
It was 1,100. It wasn't a lot.
1,100 votes.
Like, man, you can go find me 1,100 votes.
Right. So with this new law, Donald Trump says we won in a land. He'll be saying we won in a landslide. Right. But you didn't win because you were the most preferred candidate. You won because they disqualified so many people.
Right. Strategy.
Yeah.
Strategy.
So we have to understand the trickery.
Right.
we also have to hold I think you said we have to hold the politicians that we do have access to, the ones that are there, we have to hold them accountable. Sound the alarm.
Yep. Indeed. Yeah. Definitely. So this is the beginning of our conversation. You know me, I like to go dig a little deeper. I just kind of want to scratch the surface today. We're going to dig into some states, some different laws. and the idea was just to kind of light a little fire because I knew exactly where Pastor was going to go. But he said, well, it's insane to me because what they're ultimately saying is we're lazy. The old saying, you don't want a black person to know something, put it in a book, and we show them who we really are. My daughter was so proud to vote for her first time last year as she turned 18, and it was taught to her, get your paperwork in order. Yes, indeed. We just have to be vigilant. And if you know somebody that knows somebody, talk to them about voting. And yes, you're going to still get the ones that vote. I don't believe in the system, and then you got to kind of explain to them the laws. And that the main thing for me is those that I spoke to, and they were younger, that were so against the voting process, just explaining to them the laws, the things that get passed, the money that gets distributed, in your own neighborhood, because I know the federal election can be overwhelming. It's like, he's way up there in Washington. What does that matter? I'm like, yeah, I know past that, there are the local laws, there's the judges, there's the sheriffs, there's the people that you see every day that affect your town, and like I said, how money is distributed, because this was someone else in a a gentrified area of Bankhead that is now considered part of Buckhead, which is very interesting. Right. It was Bankhead. That was not. I was like, and these elected officials let that happen. They're the zoning people. They zone this,
Right.
So you got to understand. So now Bankhead has lost more money because now they can't claim this because this isn't Bankhead anymore, which is why Bankhead still look like Bankhead. So that got to like, wow. I was like, exactly. That's why you need to vote. That's why you need to know who's in office, who's out here for your best interest, your people's interest, so all right. So that's
before you close out, there's a saying that if you don't know history, you're doomed to repeat it. Mm-hmm. Let me say this and please listen to this. What we're seeing, and I understand why somebody could call this Jim Crow 2.0, because it's the same attempts. It's the same motive behind the actions. And here's the reality. The same way I said when we were talking about the Black Lives Matter movement, the same way that I said nothing's changed in America, we're just looking at the same thing in a different decade. It's the same thing with this. And we all we want is justice in areas, mm-hmm. But we have to realize that sometimes you got to go get it,
right?
And you can't go get something that's not in the front of your mind. Mm-hmm. You right. Can't go get something that you're not focused on.
Right.
That's the difference between the Randy Mosses in the world and the Calvin Johnsons, the Odell Beckham Juniors, because when they're on a pass route, they go get the ball. Regardless of who's ever island that they're on or whoever's defending them, they go get the ball. That's what separates them from the average receiver. Mm-hmm. Hey, if we really want this, if this is going to be a part of us that our children are going to be proud of, we got to go get this. Right. And we got to keep focus on it.
Right.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the neighbors or the people across the street or the people across the community do.
Right.
Because I think Pastor said it before, we got to get on our section of the wall.
Right.
And we got to cry loud and spare not.
Right.
I can't worry about the part of the wall across town. If my wall is crumbling and being attacked, then I can't keep my wall in order.
Right.
Right. And the wall is a collective effort, but your piece of the wall, if you don't know, educate yourself.
Right.
If you don't know, find somebody who does know. Strengthen yourself.
Right.
It starts with us.
Right.
We can, and believe me, I realize that there is a system, and that system is designed for certain demographics to succeed and to make it hard on other demographics. I am not saying that, but what I am saying is the only person at the end of the day that can ever stop you, that can keep you from being victorious, that can keep you from running your race, looks back at you in the mirror. We got to be better, first and foremost. Not, like I said, I'm not disputing that there isn't a system out there that has been alive and well for more than 400 years in the good old colony / United States / territory, whatever you want to call us. It's been in place, and it's been there.
Right.
But several of our ancestors throughout time has shown us that if you want it, you can get it. So onus is on us first.
And I listen. I refuse to apologize for my passion. I refuse to. Why? Because I think we're too soft. I love the Lord with all my heart, but loving the Lord does not give you permission to step on my throat and me not react, me not respond. It's really just that simple. Right. So for everybody out there who may be on here live or listening to the replay, who can't understand how a pastor could be on here and carry himself in such a manner and get all up in arms with all this stuff. Why should he talk like that? Because he's a pastor. You talk like this at home to your children. That's the reality. If I don't say it and my face not turn red, you'll never understand how I really feel.
Right.
More people's faces should be turning red. More people should be shouting. You understand? That's the reality. God has called us to be bold. You want a validation of the power of the Holy Ghost? Mm-hmm. Be bold with your talk, with your conversation. Right. The Bible says that the apostles preached with power, with boldness, and there was a validation that they had something on the inside that was supernatural. Right. If you want to get in a fight and you want to go into the fight knowing that you'll win, you're supposed to have some supernatural assistance. Right. And the only way to validate that is to be bold with it. Right. That's a fact. We need boldness. We need a militant type approach to effecting change. I'm not telling you to go out there and sock somebody in their face. That's not what I'm saying. But you do need to step up and say something. Stop sitting idly by while people make decisions for you and for your family that negatively impact you. Yes, and you sit in your corner and complain about it, but don't get out and do anything about it.
That's true.
If they can change the law that says you need an ID and that keeps you from being able to vote, shame on you.
Right. Right.
If they can change the law and it says you can only vote between 8 and 5 or 9 and 5, and you got a year or 2 or 3 to plan for it, and you use the excuse you can't get out to vote, shame on you. Right. They should not be able to put something in place that stops you from doing what you need to do. We have to take the excuses away. We have to let them know we will win regardless of what rules you put in play.
Right.
We win anyway.
You're right.
All I do is win.
Right.
No matter what.
So it's he, I was hoping he's gonna hold that till the end of the week, but he went ahead and spilled it out now. But yeah, it's true. Whatever it is, whatever obstacles, it's no reason why you shouldn't vote. We are up in arms for the changes to try to make it more difficult because it's annoying. No one likes to be playing a game and then, now you're gonna just change the rules. So it's like, all right, then, so whatever it is, whatever the rules are, roll with it to change, your community. And then real talk. Look into who's voting for what, dig into your local elections. Cause I'm gonna dig in, make sure your representative isn't representing something that's not your belief, or going against law, speaking for laws that you thought they were up in arms about and they're for. So know what's going on in your community. And like I said, this week, we're really going to dig into voting. We're going to dig into your local elections. And we're going to really push forward so that you could have understanding. And we're going to talk about this every day. I'm finding maybe the section.
And drop a comment of yours. Let me reiterate. For those of you in District 75, Mike Glanton is your state representative. District 75, Mike Glanton in Clayton County. His office, 106 North McDonough Street in Jonesboro, Georgia, 30236. Representative Mike Glanton, District 75, your state representative voted for these new laws.
Indeed. Let that marinate.
Now go tell him about it.
Right.
Y'all put him in office. He voted for these new laws. Go tell him about it.
Right.
Share them on your social media platforms.
Right.
Y'all know people.
Start sharing.
Honestly, let them know.
Honestly, everybody on here, I want you to share your local elections. I want you to share all of this information. This is the focus. I want us to do this forever. It's like not even just 2022. This needs to be on the forefront of all the timelines. We need to discuss this because this is the problem. This is where change happens.
And I'm going to shut up after this.
No, you're not.
For today. Look, media has there's two things that media does. And there may be some supplementary things, but there's two main goals of media. Number one, to make money. Right. Don't forget that. To make money. Number two, to influence. Whoever their targeted crowd is, their goal is to either A, make money and influence. If they're doing great, they're making money and influencing.
Right.
AD talked to us about how each one of us have our own little platforms within it. When something doesn't happen the way you expect it to, right, even if you only get 2 or 3 likes, I promise you, people look at it and be like, yeah, I don't really agree with that. Keep moving. Right. Or, yeah, that is facts, but I ain't finna like it. Right. People see it. That's all I'm trying to say. Right. People see it.
Right.
So when you see something that's opposite of what you believe, whether it's because of monetary reasons, right, or because you are against the targeted audience of whatever you're seeing, right, go on all your platforms. I mean, shoot, there's only like 15, 20 of them. IG, Facebook, Twitter, right, YouTube, right, Twitch.
Talk about this.
Clubhouse. And get on your soapbox.
Yes, indeed.
And let it ride there. Get on your soapbox.
Yes, indeed. Oh, he said, okay. Dr. Rollins said, I don't think Glanton voted for the voting bill. He voted on the police budget bill. The issue is we don't have enough Democratic reps. All Democrats voted against the voting bill.
Nah, the news was he voted for that voting bill.
Ooh. All right. We're going to dig into that. We're going to do some research. We're going to come on back. Follow next tomorrow on Brothers of Legacy. All right. So listen, we appreciate you guys. So this is what we're going to dig into. We want to dig into this. But this is where change happens. This is where it's important. I know we would like to be at a seat at the table. At least I want to vote for the person that's going to be representing me at the table and or know what's happening at the table. All right. So this is what we're discussing this week. We're talking about voting laws, and the changes that are happening locally, not just federally, locally. All right. So make sure you chime in. If you have some questions, you can actually, if you text brothers to 84576, text brothers to 84576 and be a part of the community. You can add and let me know what you think. You can actually text something back and we can talk about that, and if someone wants to refute Pastor on what he says about the IDs, throw it in there as well. But I'm with Pastor on it. You should have an ID.
Come get some.
You should have an ID. I mean, when I'm like Dwayne, I'm gonna say this, then I'm gonna close. When it comes to IDs, I hate hearing that whether it's blacks and poor people have such a struggle. I'm like, I don't really know. I know dudes that are janky that got IDs. So I hate hearing that because it makes us seem so less than, I think an ID is Other than like Dwayne's 0.00% situation, it's not many people with that kind of situation. So, if there's others, let us know. Maybe there's something we're not looking at. But I agree that IDs can happen, just like, yeah. All right. So we're going to roll out of here. We appreciate you guys for rocking with us. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being part. Make sure you text brothers to 84576. Be a part of the community. And if you're feeling led to be a blessing to this broadcast as we grow and develop and do amazing things throughout this country and the world, Cash App us at $BOL 2019. Cash App us at $BOL 2019.
We accept the funky $2. Look, we accept that over here. Send a little funky $2 over here. Or that little messed up $20 that somebody you can send that too. We take all that.
All right, guys. We'll see you in the morning. Peace out. Wait, hold on. Know that we love you, but God loves you more. Continue to pray because we're not negating him. We just need you to understand what's happening in your land. All right. Later.
I didn't want to catch that morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. What's up, everybody?
All right. So we're not back. I just, Mama Corey hit me with the Bible study. I forget today was Tuesday Bible study tonight at 7:00. Pastor Brian McCory be dropping some jewels, and at 8:30, the Sisters of Legacy. My bad. It just got hot in here today, so don't forget. All right, we out.
Tonight is the second half, right? Second half
yes.
from last week because I don't even think we got done last week.
If you missed last week, you need to check it out. All right, guys. Now we're going.